Hey guys, it's Michael Todd and welcome to the Cult of Vintage. Today we are in Millerstown, Pennsylvania, and we are at a Stitch in Time. We are still with Cindy J of Cindy J's Timeless Treasure on Instagram and on its Etsy. I'm going to be sure to drop a direct link to both of those down below. It's obviously raining, so we can't do the introduction outside, so we're doing it in the car. Ooh, and I'm doing it very closely in the car. How are you doing today? Anyhow, we're going to get in here, see if we can't find anything for resale. Maybe for our collection. No, for resale. Maybe for our collection. I don't know. Let's do it. Oh, it got really dark.
Drive, Michael, had we not, it's been raining.
Soaking wet.
Along that river.
There's the building. Press down hard. Here we go.
Wait. Sorry.
Alrighty guys, here we are on the interior. My hat's off to a Stitch in Time. You guys, I hope that you do or are able throughout the video to really get a sense of the charm, the time, and the care that the antique or vendor mall, I should say, put into their overall aesthetic and vibe. They have these great little lights hanging from the ceiling. You see there in the center, they've got like lampposts. It's almost like you're shopping, back in the 40s and the 50s, and each of the antique or vendor booths here is its own little store. You see the benches set up there. It's a great ambiance. It's very warm, inviting, and cozy. Oh, it was great. It was a great time. And thank you for letting me use your electric to charge my phone. It completely died. Completely died, you guys. All right, so the first item that we are seeing here is a carved log. Now, this obviously is a native log here. He was a little spendy for me, yeah, $950, but you know what? Handcrafted items do have a tendency to be a little bit more expensive. Yes, I was obsessed with the lights. What can I say? Now, upstairs, there are a lot of the newer items or rustic or primitive items, so I really am not going to highlight or spot those out for you. You know, we want to focus here on the vintage. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just what we're about here at the Cult of Vintage. So, again, I would recommend checking it out. And here we're seeing just kind of like a mix of new and older items. Now, I do happen to spot over here this beautiful blue opalescent sugar and creamer, and I point those out to Cindy because Cindy does love a good creamer. Now, they are very reasonably priced. I just absolutely love them. I think they're beautiful. Now, they are stamped Fenton on the bottom, so we know that those are 71 or later. Again, you just want to keep your eye out. Cindy's admiring the opalescence to it. It's just, they're a stunning little piece. It just really wasn't at the price point where Cindy was comfortable getting those for her Etsy store. Again, that will be linked down below. And she is reminiscing about the poinsettia glasses. They're absolutely charming. Great for a little splash of color for the holidays. We've got a cute little lusterware teapot set here. Again, $24.99 for all of it. That's really a good price, but it's not something that I was really interested in picking up for resale. Now, here we do see a clear glass lid on the sugar. I respect that. They included a lid. It is not original. It probably would have matched and had like a floral detail there on the top. So we're just kind of saying, this creamer, it's a little bit lighter than the teapot and the sugar. Beautiful example of some Nippon there, hand-painted accents is what I should say. You do have to keep in mind that a lot of times some of the later pieces, now that did look to be an earlier piece, but a lot of the later pieces, they would put on accents and hand painting. That way they were able to label it as hand-painted. Not that anybody would ever do that, of course. And Cindy found a cute little elephant mug there. Now, here we've spotted a record collection. This is the Little Tots Records. It's in really good condition. Each of the sleeves contains, of course, a vinyl record with various little songs on them, both side A and B. So we just had to spot it and check it out. I mean, it's in really good condition. It's cute, it's charming. Now, that one did have Santa Claus there on the cover, and we think that they came out monthly. So I don't know if it was a subscription service or something that you would pick up at, your local five and dime, but look at this little congratulations, Dad. It's a boy. It's so adorable. It's just charming. I love the graphic on it. It's adorable. Again, it's just not something that I wanted to pick up for resale, but I definitely thought that it was something noteworthy. Okay, guys, hope you're sitting down. This next item's going to jump out and scare you. Blah. It's a tarantula. Yeah, it's a tarantula encased in, I think it's like a lucite, maybe. Now we do see this cute little kind of phone next to a phone. I would assume that you would hang it or in the kitchen somewhere, a little notepad with the pencil, which was original. Obviously, it's dated 1953, and the top there would have contained the calendar. We were checking out here. These were so popular. Do you remember these back in the 90s? Oh my goodness. Now we are headed downstairs. Downstairs is where we're going to find more of those vintage and antique goods that we are looking at. So this is really where we're going to focus the video at. Oh, this thing. My goodness. Talk about trash-tastic. I mean, I've never seen one set up in a lampstand. It was priced at $75, including the stand. I think that's a really good price, especially for a collector, but reselling, I would not want to ship that stand. No way, no how. Here we kind of have a little fiendish Santa here. He is a blow mold, and of course he does contain his light kit. It's just a little too large for me to want to ship, and then I spot them. The realness, folks. The 80s realness. Look at that Pegasus, those neon Pegasus. Oh my... Look at this stalking panther. Oh my gosh. The fact that people would hang these in their home, not only that, but paint the side of their vans. I mean, it was a lifestyle. Come on, folks. They were letting you know what was up. Again, you are getting a little overview here, just like upstairs. Very charming. Again, it's one of those things where you can tell that the owners really do care about their store. And that they're interested in creating an experience for their shoppers. And I really do appreciate and respect that. It did add to the overall aesthetic, so it was fun. Now, of course, we are seeing some Christmas items out, keeping in mind that this video was shot in October. I know, we're almost through November, but what can I say? So it's never too early to set out your Christmas, as I have said. Set it out year round. People, resellers, collectors, we are always on the hunt. And you know what? I'm going to say the same thing for Halloween. Here we have a little witch noise maker at $10. Right underneath strawberry shortcake, there's a blueberry muffin. And orange marmalade is the one there in the back, in case you were wondering. Can't you just, if you were a child of the 80s, can't you just smell them now, right? Or parents or grandparents. You might remember that smell. It's very soothing and comforting. Now, I did see some little salt and pepper shakers here. These little stalking cats or creeping cats. Look at those eyes, those rhinestones on them. Really good condition. They were redware. They were priced at $24, which again that's going to be your collector pricing. And that's totally okay. I think that's very fair. But again, for reselling, it's just not really where I would want it to be. If those were $10, I probably would have picked them up. Now, something you are going to see throughout more and more of my videos is I do want to take a little bit more time and get into the ephemera. I know there are a lot of collectors out there, whether you actually collect or frame the ephemera or whether you're using it for junk journaling. I don't know. It's something, it's a piece of history, as are, of course, are the hard items. But the ephemera, it's just... a lot of it got ruined or thrown out. So there's just a little bit more meaning there to it. Do you see that frying pan and the what do you call those? The utensil where you flip stuff? Spatula. Little salt and pepper shakers there. That was cute. Now, up to this point, keep in mind, we haven't found anything. I know. Don't you worry. It's going to get real. Oh yeah, it is. Hence the name of the video. Hence I had to use one of those two graphics between the Panther and the Pegasus. Y'all, I was struggling. I couldn't decide. A lot of good stuff to root through here. Now, I did see this picture. I absolutely loved it. It's very like a Nautilus shell. It was priced at 125, which I was like, okay, maybe not. Now that probably is coming from, I would say, mid 1900s. So you're looking about 1915 to about 1925, and you can tell by the shape, the coloring of the glaze, the overall feel of the item. Now we do spot this hand painted dish. It was only $12. There were a variety of glass manufacturers. It does have a ground bottom. Unfortunately, it wasn't smoothed out. So it does lead me to believe that it was a later piece. A lot of people will call this Bohemian glass. I have a tendency to call it Venetian. Both are correct. Bohemian typically is going to be your antique. And when I refer to it as Venetian, I am typically saying that it is an older piece and it did come out of Italy. Czechoslovakia also did a lot of the enameled hand painted glass. They did some beautiful work. Murano also did some gorgeous glass, but you're going to know that by the quality of the glass versus the quality of the painting. And look at this little creep. Now, the vendor did take some older dolls and kind of dress them up, shall we say, for Halloween. And look at the little one. It's very much like a 1950s sideshow. I thought it was absolutely adorable. And of course, they mixed in the mask there and some, of course, the girly candles here. It was cute. We got a little dark skinned Cupid. Always keep your eye out for those. They were not made, obviously, in mass quantities. And the vendor decided to go ahead and add some longer hair on those. Now, I did find an Edward Mobley squeaking lamb that was priced at only $12. Unfortunately, there was a chunk taken out of $7, pardon me. A chunk taken out of the tip of her ear. I guess a little child got a little too carried away. They were hungry. It happens. Had it been in better condition at $7, you bet I would have picked it up. Even at the 10, I would have picked it up. Now, I do see this ragdoll back here. She does have one of the harder vinyl faces. It's not like the soft, squishy one. She was large and in charge. I've never seen one this big. She was priced at only $15. I kind of was interested. Unfortunately, and if you know like your older plush, it's really dense plushing, and the weight and the size on that, it would have been cost prohibited for what would it have sold for. Here we have a little paper mache pumpkin. He's missing his paper insert. And I do want to refer back to the doll really quick. You're like, well, what do you mean? So the doll, I think there was probably about anywhere from, look at this beautiful Blunique by Viking. 6 petals. Check those petals down on the bottom. Those are little indents that you're seeing. She would have sold that handkerchief there. I think that is also Viking Blunique. You can just tell by the richness of the color. Viking has a very striking, unique, not Blunique, but unique coloring to it. And here I spot a whole bunch of Blenko glass. We do have some Boyd's glass clowns there. You're seeing the cats. This collector had a lot of glass. And I appreciate it. So did Cindy, let me tell you what. But the doll would have sold, I think, she would have had a profit, let me put it to you that way, of anywhere between $25 to $35. Okay. So let's say that she sold at $50, but given her size and her weight, depending on the buyer, the shipping, you guys, could have been upwards of $40 to $50. So they're paying nearly double the amount of the item. And you always want to try to consider that, especially if you're going to be reselling. Because the buyer may want to buy it at $50, but then all of a sudden that $50 becomes $100 after you factor in shipping. Now, I was handling there a milk glass painted egg, very popular in the Victorian times. I don't think that it was an early 1900s example. It could have been. Mr. Magoo, look at him. You can get a whole bag of Mr. Magoos there. Well, see, now y'all going to be rushing to the stitch in time there. I again with the egg, I didn't find that it didn't have the right feel, didn't have the right weight. The glass seemed a little too smooth, too perfect. A lot of the Victorian or early 1900s glass, imperfections weren't necessarily unheard of. Certain things like air bubbles or divots in the glass, even leaving in spelter, that would have been acceptable because it wasn't as refined as what we find today. Even in cheaper manufactured glass, you wouldn't find spelter. Now here, of course, I do see a white iridescent Cupid. It is a Boyd's doll. He is marked on the bottom. I initially missed it, so I did go ahead and pick him up. I'm seeing this beautiful example of red amberina. It obviously is a covered dish. It is priced at only $15. I decided not to get it because I have been selling so much amberina. It's a beautiful example. I think it's a great price for either a collector or a reseller. A lot of Ellie Smith, and that is L.E. Smith. I know everybody, myself included, thought it was Ellie, like Ellie, their initials. Some jadeite mixing bowls. Neither Cindy or I had our flashlight with us. Darn it. I do suspect this one here on the end would have glowed or fluoresced. Pardon me. I do think that it was part of the mixing bowl set. So some do, some don't. That is typically made by McKee. McKee usually will glow. Not always, but mostly. And Jeanette will also. Fire King will never glow for you. Now, I did see this set of 7 vintage figurines. What popped out at me was this fair pig. I wanted him really badly. I absolutely love those they're German, 1800, late 1800s. Unfortunately, I didn't want to spend $30 and then be stuck with all these other figurines, though paying just $30 for that fair pig is a very fair price. Do you see what I did there? Fair, fair. Here we have some really cute little lenticulated winking Santa mugs. I did a very poor job of capturing that on camera, but of course he does have that winking feature to him. Now, I did see in this little display cabinet here, do you see the little floral fairy there? I actually have her. I would have liked to have picked one up for resale, and of course the little brownie next to her is of course a timer. But I didn't. I was feeling lazy and I didn't feel like going upstairs. And I found this really unusual costume. Turns out it is Rin Tin Tin. I think that's really cute. I don't know if it was Collegeville or Ben Cooper. I have a feeling it probably was Collegeville. And I found these darling little, who is that? Who was it? I'm seeing these cute little, I don't know what one would do with these, like little jelly jars or condiment jars with the cute little lids attached to them. I love the pink and the white. I decided to opt out on them. The image really wasn't speaking to me. And I know a lot of you were going to murder me, but hey. And hey, look, a little more Blenko. Now, I will say this, a lot of the Blenko that we are seeing throughout the store, including the vendor booth earlier, there it is. It is etched. This is 2018, so it is still a newer piece of Blenko. And running comps on them, the vendor was spot on. I think this was like $1 or $2 cheaper. It's $40. And that is anywhere from like 40 to about 50, depending on the vendor. And now we're back at that other booth with the Blenko. We've got the elephant, the amberina, which does in fact fluoresce. I love this little puppy. It's adorable. It's unique. He does also fluoresce. So I did pick him up. These are all Blenko pieces. So I get the elephant, I get the clear glass frog, I get the black cat. And again, these are all etched on the bottom. Blenko, that was 2017. Each of the animals is 2017. I kind of regret not getting that Blenko green press snowman. Now, here we are seeing these are again antique. These are 1800s. This is the clam broth glass, so it very much looks like clam broth from a soup. These were barber bottles, so bay rum and witch hazel. I do decide to go ahead and pick those up. Here, I found a Napco planer for just 50 cents. It was in amazing condition. Does have a little ding there at the top, but I decided to go ahead and pick that up, and I'm going to use that as a base to make a Christmas assemblage. Alrighty, guys. We are now headed upstairs. Upstairs, again, we are looking at a lot of newer or vintage inspired items, things that will play in well with your vintage or antique homes. I mean, the toy room isn't the best example of that, but Cindy's checking out the Halloween blow molds there. They're very cute. I have a hard time getting them at a price that would allow me to resell them. I love selling those, especially like the tabletop ones, because they're so light. They're not huge. It's such a regret. We're looking at some vintage Barbies here. And whenever I see those vintage Barbies, I always think of Miss Liz Retros. Oh, yes, I do. Again, a darling little display here. I did want to highlight this one. It's newer stuff, but I think that it was done well. And you guys know, I always love showing off a nice display. People work hard and they deserve the attention. So we've got a little mismatch again of vintage inspired and newer items. Oh my goodness, that peacock light. Here we've got a little ghosty. I love this one with the cutouts. I think that it was done very well. I was having a hard time. Oh, yep, we found the price tag, $35.99. That's a deal. Now it's a collector deal. It's not a reseller deal. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get him. But for a collector, it was a deal. The blow mold here, $32.99. Again, collector deal, but not a reselling deal. So I sadly did have to leave him behind. Got to check it all out. Make sure that we don't miss anything. Now I do spot this beautiful blue glass. Oh, it's Heisey. No, beg pardon. It's not Heisey. Oh shoot, Michael. Who was it? McKee. It was a beautiful blue McKee candy dish. So we did pick that up. Now I do spot these two bookends, and these were priced at only $25. I about freaked out. These are JB Hirsch, and I collect these. That was a deal, and I'm not reselling it. That was a reseller deal, and that was a collector deal. And the collector in me is like screaming inside. Now we do, of course, Cindy actually spotted these. We've got two amber glass swung vases. The one here in the back at $45 is Fenton. The one in the front, I do not know who it is. That was an example of having a lot of spelter. So that was like kind of like the little metal. $20 for one candle. Darn it. Yeah, I was frustrated. So I do go ahead and get that Fenton swung vase. The one in the front, the quality really wasn't where I wanted it to be. Well, guys, here is our basket shot. I forgot to do an outro, so we're going to take a quick shot of everything that I got. I hope that you did enjoy this shopping experience with both me and Cindy. Again, here at Stitch in Time. I loved it. It was great. And you guys, until next time, remember, keep it rusty, crusty, and dusty. Bye, guys.